G'day mates and welcome back. My name is Relzor, and with the release of the new Living World episode, All or Nothing, a lot of players have been left with the question, what next? What could possibly be in store for Guild Wars 2's future in the story itself? Now before I continue this video, I do want you to know this will contain spoilers, so if you haven't finished the story and you don't want anything spoiled for you, don't go any further, turn the video off now, and continue the story and then come back. Now with that out of the way, I do want to let you know that I haven't done anything like this before. This is a brand new type of video for me, so if you do enjoy it, please hit that like button and subscribe as it means a lot, and it will help me out in the future. Thank you all very much. Jumping straight into the Living World episode, we first off go to the Dermot Priory to meet with Ogden. Ogden then sends us to a place called Thunderhead Keep. Here we attempt to make a dragon blood spear to attempt to pierce Kralkatorrik. After creating the dragon blood spear, and with Aurain's help, we deal a few large blows to Kralkatorrik himself. Just as the player character thinks they're about to win, Kralkatorrik rises and blasts Brand towards us. Aurain jumps in front of the player character and blasts her own brand at Kralkatorrik. This creates a large explosion, dealing very large blows to Kralkatorrik's face, removing one of his eyes, inevitably, however, killing Aurain in the process. And that pretty much sums up what happened in All or Nothing. So now we're left with the question, what next? One of the first ideas I have, and a few players would want this, me on the other hand, I don't want this to happen at all, Aurain might return back from the dead. I know at the moment a lot of you think that Aurain's completely dead, and it's completely over for Aurain. However, there are actually ways that she could return. I'm not saying that it's 100% possible, but if they really wanted to, they could possibly bring her back. In Living World episode Long Live the Lich, right at the very end, Aurain busts into the room where Joko is and devours him. We know Joko had the power of his Lich to be able to come back from the dead. The only reason Joko's dead right now is because he was entirely devoured by Aurain, thus probably giving Aurain the powers of Joko. She could possibly come back from his Lich-like powers. Another way Aurain could possibly come back is through time travel. Now, I absolutely hate the idea of the time travel, but it could be explored further. The reason I believe this is because in the episode A Star to Guide Us, we see a lot of time manipulation through the use of Kralkatorrik's rifts that appear throughout the storms of the new map. We also see the commando troopers appear and disappear throughout the exact same rifts. Possibility, maybe, maybe not. For my sake, I hope not, because I don't like time manipulation in games. It often creates a bit of a waffly experience. From a storytelling point of view, I want to explain why returning Aurain from the dead is not a good idea. It would completely make the story episode All or Nothing feel pointless and not worth the player's time. Because the stakes were, if we failed, we would get nothing. If we succeeded, we would get everything. We would kill Kralkatorrik, we would have succeeded, it would have been happy days. But we failed. We killed Aurain. Now if Aurain was to return, there are no stakes. It doesn't matter if Aurain dies or stayed alive during that fight. Therefore, creating the feeling that that was a useless Living World episode. Now the second idea I have is Aurain, the friendly little dragon that everyone knows and loves, is dead. She's completely gone. There's no returning for her. So what do we do next? Well, I believe that we could go on a wild goose chase to the Blood Legion homelands. The reason we would go to the Blood Legion homelands is because that is where Kralkatorrik originated from. That's where he originally flew in from as he approached towards the Crystal Desert. we might go there to try and figure out what actually woke him up, what actually happened, maybe try and find some sort of weaknesses there, something like that. And the third idea I have, and this one's going to be a little bit crazy, so try and stay with me for this one. What if we actually get sent to Cantha? I know, Cantha. Why would we go there? Well, what if Relzor uses his powers of his Revenant abilities to communicate with Shiro and learns about Kunavang? Maybe that could happen. Maybe. What if we actually go there to get Kunavang to help fight the Crystal Dragon, Krokatorik? Now, Aurene is dead, but in Cantha there are other dragons. We might want to go and get their help, and that could eventually lead on to a Cantha expansion. It's a possibility. And the way it could happen is through Relzor and his new Revenant abilities. We already know that the Revenant player character can speak to Shiro, and we know that Shiro knows about Kunavang. Now, I don't have a plethora of Guild Wars 1 knowledge behind me because I never played the original game. Is this plausible, or is this a bad idea? I'm not sure, but it's a possibility that was in my mind. Now, the fourth idea I have comes back to Guild Wars 1 again, and that is the Scrying Pools. Now, in the Eye of the North expansion from Guild Wars 1, there's a place called the Scrying Pools. You would go there and it would show you visions. Now, Ogden would know about the Scrying Pools, and we could possibly talk to him, and he might send us there to get an idea of what we could do next. That could lead into an Eye of the North sort of based expansion in Guild Wars 2. Maybe we get to see more of the Shiver Peaks, the far Shiver Peaks. Now, if I could choose any of these to become a reality, I would definitely choose to go towards Cantha, go for Kunavang, eventually go into the Cantha expansion, where we then get to explore all of the original Cantha ideas and things that were in Guild Wars 1. I think that's something that a lot of players would love to go back to. I know I, for one, and probably WP and a few other of the Guild Wars 2 community would definitely be interested in. Another thing we could possibly get from the Cantha expansion is Tengu as a playable race. Possibilities. We know that in Heart of Thorns, they chose to make a new class instead of a playable race. The reason they did this is because they felt like a class would offer more variety than a race would. I think it's definitely a possibility if they did it like this. We know that the Tengu have a rather similar rig to the Chars, if not the exact same. So adding armor for them would be rather easy in my personal opinion. However, as I'm not a developer, I'm not 100% certain. What they could also do is create their own original story that would take place after all the other stories already happened, and we go from scratch. Therefore, they don't have to do any of the old voice acting. You could have this as a hero class, for example, from World of Warcraft. Now, I bring that up because if we want new players to be able to get into this, it would be a bit weird for them to start off as a Tengu going through the original story, but it would also be a weird experience for them to start after everything else. The way they could do it is make you need to have another character that's played through the other stories before you can get a Tengu. That could be an interesting way of getting around all the hard work. Well, that's all I've got so far for my ideas of what could possibly happen in the future of Guild Wars 2's story. Now, if you have any of your own ideas, please feel free to comment below, as I'd love to hear what they are. If you did enjoy the video, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, as it means a lot. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.